try this again. Looks to be recording fine. Said I had an excellent connection, then dropped me, so we'll see. Made this setup this morning, so I think it'll work for showing a whole game. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I haven't been on YouTube long, and while I was using the same program for my Twitch has a lot less options. So. Okay. And this should be able to pivot pretty well. Yeah, the camera and light. So some stuff I'll probably just pull up to the camera, maybe individual cards, but should be able to track the game pretty easily with the camera setup. I'm excited. If everybody likes it, I'll continue doing it. I hate that glare. I actually waited until the afternoon because the sun's actually on the other side of my place in the afternoon, but that glare is still pretty bad. Hopefully it'll get better as the game goes along. But I can move the camera around too. Alright. So I'm going to go get a beer. That'll give anybody who's joining some more time to join up. And what I'll do is I'll focus the camera on Emil. Now it's not going to be straight up, but I'll put it to where you can see his abilities. Maybe there we go. Alright. I know it's at an angle, but whatever. That's something I can remember for next time. Although I guess I could just. Here, we'll just do this. Seems to be working pretty well. That little black notch is the flap on the camera. I need to get a rubber band for that. Alright. Yeah, that's not bad. Cool. So y'all can read that for just a sec. Even though it says they have excellent connection, there's a hell of a delay. Good grief. Looks like almost a full minute. So I've been doing these quickies because I just got all the Multiverse stuff in the other day. That's season 3 for United. I used to be a hell of a gamer. We had an entire wall. Actually, we had more than a wall full of games. But last October, I simplified my life greatly. So I moved out in the middle of nowhere, put in a bunch of gardens, got rid of most stuff. I minimized to a great degree. So I was careful with the stuff I did pick. What I did save was I saved all the United stuff, so that's going to be my big collecting thing. I saved all my comics, but I'm giving those to my youngest boy. He's in the military right now. So as far as board games, I really only kept all of the Marvel United stuff, and yes, I signed up for the DC United stuff. And Reichbusters, Dungeonology. Honestly, I think that's about it. Yeah. Oh, Elder Signs. Yeah, I got Elder Signs too, smaller. I love Elder Signs. TTRPGs, book-wise, so physically, TTRPGs, I only held on to Legend of the Five Rings, Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, and all the household stuff. Love household. TTRPGs, I typically GM. I'm on Start Playing, so if you're interested in TTRPGs, look me up on there. Same name for everything. I'm easy. Video games, I usually only stick to 1 or 2 video games. I don't video game like I used to. I honestly limit myself on everything. That's why I've only got, a few board games, a few video games. Video game-wise, I'm still playing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I love it. There's not many people that play it. A lot of that is just no account, untruthful bad press, if I'm honest. And then next month, Space Marine 2 comes out, so that's probably going to be my big game that I play. Since nobody plays Justice League or Suicide Squad when I'm not playing and I'm playing a video game, I'm playing Still Wakes the Deep right now, which is a horror game. It's pretty good. So some of my streams, the video games I stream on Twitch still. That's really the only thing I do on Twitch. All my art stuff, the other stuff is here. But I was thinking some of the Twitch streams I can actually put on here also, because I've got the videos. Yeah. So I'll probably do that. Maybe. I say probably. It's a maybe. But video game-wise, right now, I'm really just playing Still Wakes the Deep and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. I did try No Man's Sky for the first time the other day, but it's iffy. Requires a whole lot of time. I'm going to assume only game streamers have the time to commit to that game. I don't think I will. Hard to believe it's been out for 6 years. Couldn't believe that. I remember my oldest boy playing it when it came out. I couldn't believe that was 6 years ago. Goodness. Anyway, today's quickie. Yeah, I know. I said I got to work on the name. I'm calling them desktop quickies. I don't know. Maybe it's good. Maybe quickies is fine. So the hope is when I do, because I do these desktop quickies where I come up with a story and try and play it out. This one is homage to the Thunderbolts movie that comes out in May of next year. If you haven't seen the SDCC panel, it's really funny. But funnier is the interview that Entertainment Weekly did after the panel. I might go back and put the link in the description. I didn't think of that earlier. I'm not used to all the stuff that you can do on YouTube. I'll get there. I do have the ability to do some cool shit though. Everything I do on here, I do myself. But like all the art's mine. I set up all the videos, slideshows. So I handle all this stuff myself. My own. I'm probably not going to edit videos. Sorry, not sorry. Most of my stuff will be either just recorded videos, unedited, or streams. But I mean that can be a good thing too. Once the community gets up, you can be included in live streams. And if you are, you can help me come up with ideas for the next one. I don't really have an idea for the next one. I haven't done Starjammers yet. So the Multiverse, like I said, it's season 3. In this video, I'll break down Marvel United, and I'll go from the beginning in case people watching haven't played. Because it's great. It's a great board game. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite board game of all time. Multiverse is the 3rd season, which is kind of like a year. So 3rd year of Marvel United, and I don't think it ended up being as big as X-Men. I might be wrong. Season 2 was X-Men, and it was pretty big. But every season also introduced some new stuff. So the only thing in this game that is new, other than characters and villains, or heroes and villains, is the equipment cards. So this is a pretty, I'm not going to say bare bones because I've got a challenge going on, but it should be easy for me to break down the game for all of you who've never played it before. This is not going to be Commander Solo mode. It's not going to be Shield mode. It's just going to be, if you have your friends over and there's 4 of you, then this is what a typical game. The typical game is built for between 2 and 4 players, and all of you play heroes. That's the typical game, and that's where this is coming from. Now, in the future, if y'all are joining in and you start leaving comments as to what you'd like to see, we can do other stuff. The game at this point has the availability for 7 players. Oh, actually, if you do versus, 8 players. So you can play the game with between 1 and 8 players now. I haven't done the versus yet. I'm probably going to save that until the game shows up and we play together. So I probably won't include any verses on Quickies. But this is going to be a standard game with equipment and a challenge. The game is very easy to pick up. It's really just, for the most part, it's icon-based. There's very few wording to get the hang of. Each villain is a different game, for the most part. There are villains that are super similar, like Juggernaut and Rhino are super similar. Deathstrike and Sabretooth are super similar. But, for the most part, each villain is like a whole different game. In addition to separate villains, at the point we're at, we've got multiple villain games. So there's a 2-villain game, a 3-villain game, a 4-villain game, a 6-villain game, and then there's a couple of playthroughs where you play like a campaign, like game after game after game after game. I think there's 4 of those now. That's in addition to the ones that you make yourself, and it's also in addition to the new campaigns. I haven't done a campaign on a Quickie. I'm not sure if a campaign Quickie is even possible, because I'm pretty sure I looked at them because I'm excited about them, but it looks like the quickest campaign is still probably going to take about 3 hours. I would estimate about 3 hours. Yeah. And I've been playing this game since day 1, like since it dropped. We kickstarted the very first season, so as soon as it reached us, I think it was that next August. I think so. As soon as it reached us, we started playing, and it's fabulous. Yeah. So that's probably enough intro. I'm Dax. I live in the middle of nowhere, like I said. trying to make a living off of my own art because I'm an artist. Yeah. Recently got into politics because of the craziness going on. But whatever. I guess I can turn that around now. This is also the playmats are available. So I should probably go over the stuff that's available. The Kickstarters are done on seasons 1 through 3. So that being said, there is still ways to get everything if you become interested in this game, and I can't say enough positive about this game. The Season 1 starter box was available at Walmart. It was about $23 to $30, depending on when you caught it. So you can probably find that out there. The Sinister 6 box was available for retail. And I think that was it with that first one. It looked like rights got tied up with the MCU stuff, so it was going to start one way and then ended up not being another. As far as retail goes on the second season, I don't actually recall. I'm not sure any of Season 2 made it to retail. Now, Spider-Geddon did. So the best way to get hold of everything is probably someplace like Game Steward. The Game Steward probably has the all-ins available. They're going to be pretty expensive. Even for those of us who did them on Kickstarter, it was, I think the first one was $230, and then the second one was $300, and then maybe $280, and then $300 and something, and then DC United ended up being close to $400. Yeah, so yeah, you get the idea. But it's because it's a lot of stuff, and it's also very cool minis. Like this is a Season 1 mini. My buddy, I say buddy, my friend, Edouard Guitan, does the art. Big Child Creatives does the modeling. So the models are actually pretty fantastic. The art is more than fantastic. Ed does the art for all the Zombicide stuff too. He's very talented and also very versatile. He did some art for Enkama. So there's a couple of games that he does art for. Love the guy. Really good guy. And Lady Lonza does the coloring for this. Not for the stuff he did for other companies. But the stuff he does for this is Lady Lonza. And they're both just getting better and better. Like the art from this season is fabulous. Especially the coloring jobs. Lady Lonza. And the guys at Spin Master Games, they have definitely done their art with this game. The way the game plays is unique, which I love, and it's fun. Like I said, it's easy to pick up. The only drawback to this game is that they are, and I get it, they kind of outlaw guns. You won't see many guns in this game. They're very, very safe with that. And if you read Marvel, there's a lot of guns. So that gets a little awkward at times. But they pay homage to the comics, and I know it's because the comic, I guess the editorial team, maybe? I don't know if it would be the public relations team, but the heads of the comic book industries involved are heavily involved in what goes on in these games, like picking who's the villain, who's the hero. Come Season 3 Marvel, most of the big shit is covered. However, there's some noticeable big names missing, like the leader still hasn't shown up, Mephisto still hasn't shown up. But I was thinking earlier, a lot of the Underworld stuff hasn't shown up, like the Green Door stuff, the One Below, and the Nine Hells Limbo shows up a little bit in this one. Um, Azazel, Mephisto, Satan, Dracula. So none of those have shown up yet, and there's probably some IP issues with them, if I'm being honest. But still, if they do a season 4, I see it being very magic oriented. Um, Even though this one's the multiverse, it also seems to be very cosmic oriented. Cosmic Marvel is one of my favorite parts of Marvel. Like this set brought in the War of the Kings, so the Inhumans and the Shi'ar. There's still some Kree stuff missing. But there's some Kree stuff in this. Philavella's in this. We still need Marvel. Yeah, so there's still lots that they can do. DC, and DC United covered a lot of shit. There's not much left to do as far as DC goes. I can see them doing a Young Justice box. That's the biggest thing I think is missing from the DC United. But DC was never my strong point. So maybe not. Anyway, okay. So this is Marvel United. In setup, what you would typically do is you would pick a villain first. We picked. I picked Abomination. It's the royal we. I picked Abomination from a standpoint of Abomination breaking out of Raft. Ta-da! That stupid glare. I guess I could take them out of the sleeves, but I don't want to. So Abomination's breaking out of the Raft. When you pulled it right out. Back in there. Tighten it up. So after you pick your villain, that's typically, and I mean typically, I say typically meaning typically. There is no rules on who you have to pick. There's no rules if they have to maintain cohesiveness or story. When it comes to me, no matter what the game is, I have a hard time separating it from a good story. Do I want to win? Do I want it to mathematically go well? Sure. But honestly, it's hard for me to separate that from the story. I get to a point where I try to do it all. So when I do these quickies, there's probably going to be a story involved. I'll be honest. Since they included the bar with no name this season, I see the bar with no name being my starting point a lot. I'm Irish. What are you going to do? So, our start, you pick randomly, you're supposed to randomly pick 6 locations. You don't have to randomly pick them. If you're setting up your own story, if you're having fun, you're of course going to want to pick them. So, in this particular case, I picked them. One of the reasons I picked them is because I wanted to use Camp Hammond. That reminds me, I need to pull out the advanced training. I almost forgot about that. Or I guess I did forget about that. Boom. Okay. Advanced trainings are new. There we go. Advanced training. Oh yeah, I think I went down that whole rabbit trail because of the mat. So this mat is one of 4 now. I didn't get the DC mat. I might change that. It's $40. I might go ahead and change that. We'll see. So they're neoprene. They're very cool. I think they're 3 foot by 3 foot. They look like 3 foot, maybe 3.5. So they're decent sized, and they help you set up. So what you do is you select 6 locations, you select a villain, which pretty much tells you what your game is going to play like, and then you pick 4 heroes. Now this is a typical game, so between 2 and 4 heroes. Typical game will be co-op, 2 to 4 players versus the villain that you choose. That's your typical game of Marvel United. Let's flip the thing off over here. That explains a lot. There we go. Okay. So your typical game of Marvel United is going to be between 2 and 4 players, co-op versus one villain. At the point that we're at, you have, like I said, the availability to play between 1 and 8 characters. That's because there are 2 different solo modes. Now, you can also play a standard game by yourself, which is what we're doing with these quickies. The quickies are basically so I can get to know all the new shit, because I'm an expert, definitive expert on all the old shit. So the quickies are to help me get used to the new shit. And this mat is my oldest mat. This is the Season 1 mat. I'm playing with it, with these quickies, because it's a little stained. Lots of kids played on this mat. Yeah. Lots of food has been dropped on this mat. I'm not gonna say if any of these things are because of me. Why would I do that? But the mats are solid. They're between $35 and $40 or $35 and $39. They're neoprene. Some of them are dual-sided. Not sure who's calling me. It's weird. It's a pretty big day politically here in the U.S. My phone's blowing up because of that, too. Anyway. Where was I? Neoprene mat is very nice. They help you with your setup. Some of them are, all but this one I think are actually, yeah, I think all but Season 1 are dual-sided. Pretty sure of that. The DC United mat is pretty awesome. One side is Superman colors and the other is Batman colors. It's very cool. So you pick your villain, heroes, locations, you set them up. Typically you would pick your 3 missions. Typically, some villains don't use them. Some game times don't use them. These are not the typical missions either. That's because I picked a challenge. The challenge that I picked, stupid glare, Plan B challenge. I think it fits for the Thunderbolts. So Thunderbolts are up against Abomination, except for Sentry, they don't really stand much of a chance. So, and Sentry's kind of a loose cannon. So Plan B challenge makes sense. The Plan B challenge changes the win condition, and I'll go over that. Typically, with a standard villain, with just the majority of the villains, your win condition is you kill them, you knock them out, you take their health down to 0. For 4 players against Abomination here, he's got 13 health. That is 13 health, and he regenerates. It's the first time for me doing all of this stuff, so if it's the first time for you, don't feel bad. A lot of these locations are new also. I've only played with one of them. The only one of these locations I played with is the bar that has no name, which in the comics, the bar that has no name is where all the villains hang out. And there's multiple bars that have no name in different cities across the U.S. Actually, it might be abroad. I think there's one in Madripoor too. Anyway, so 5 of these locations I've never played on before. I don't really have a heal, so since I'm experienced, a couple of things that you can do to mess with the difficulty. I always play on heroic mode. That is, you take out the multi multitask. I forgot what they call this. Multi-actions. You take out the multi-action cards. So heroic is taken out both of them. Hard is taken out this one. Heroic is taken out both of them. So that is a challenge. There's a challenge card for it also. But there's other challenges, like the Plan B challenge, that kind of change the atmosphere of the game. There's a Fin Fang Foom challenge now. I played that one the other day. It never woke him up, so I didn't have to mess with him. The Sentinels are probably my favorite challenge. The Sentinel box is Fabu, and it comes with a Sentinel and Nimrod game type, as well as challenge cards for each Sentinel. So you can have up to 3 Sentinels as challenges in any game. I guess I'll explain that more when we get to what challenges are. So the typical game, you'll have a villain, it'll have health. You have to get the health down to 0, and if you do, you win. If the villain plays all of his master plan cards, that's these, and there's no more left to play and he has to play one, or she, they win. If the villain knocks you out enough, or the game goes long enough that no hero can draw another card, the villain wins. Those are the 2 typical scenarios for the villain winning. The typical scenario for the hero winning is the villain loses all of its health. Now, there are villains that don't even have health. There are villains that don't deal damage. There's all sorts of kinds of villains. There's a villain now that takes on 6 heroes at a time. Yeah. There's a villain that when they KO a character, the character is dead, and you have to replace him with another character. There's a few like that, actually. So typically, in a typical game, this is what you're looking at. Abomination is a fairly standard villain. That's one reason why I wanted to use him for this. So he's got his health for between 2 to 4 players, how much health he's got. And then he's got special rules. Abomination is always under pressure and vulnerable to damage from the start of the game. So under pressure means that instead of the standard every 3 hero cards the villain goes, with under pressure every 2 cards the hero goes. When any mission is completed, each hero draws 1 card. So typically, you don't draw a card unless you complete all 3 missions. When a hero is KO'd, Abomination does not activate his BAM. Instead, accelerate the next villain turn by 1, if not already accelerated. Which means since he starts off going every 2 heroes, if he knocks out a hero, he goes every 1 hero. Now that's just once, but if he does it again, he does it again. You get the point. And then it'll also tell you what their BAM does. Once you see a master plan card, you'll understand this a little bit better, but his BAM does 2 damage to 1 hero in his location. And discard all thugs and civilians, that's what those icons mean, in Abomination's location. It's pretty sick, because you need them to complete missions. Overflow. Overflow means, well, I'll show you in just a second. So his overflow says if 1 or more civilian or thug tokens can't be added to a location, discard all thugs and civilians from that location. That's pretty killer. He's not going to be easy, and I've got a challenge. But so you'll see here on the bar, this is a thug, like I was telling you, and there's 3 spots that you can have thugs or civilians. Overflow means they're all full, and some game effect adds another one. That's what that means. Typically, master plan cards add more. So it's not uncommon to add more to a location. Now, this card down here is the threat card. Villains typically, almost entirely, come with threat cards. There's like 2 that don't, I think. Well, I haven't played all of the new ones. And it's been a long time since the Kickstarter, so I don't remember everything. But I think there's 2 villains that don't have threats. So this threat This is how you clear them, and I'll go over these icons in a second. You have to play 2 of this particular icon, which is an action type, to clear this threat. That's pretty. The 2 isn't standard, but the rescue, that's what this icon is pretty standard for clearing threats. So as long as this threat is in play, heroes can't deal more than 2 damage to Abomination each turn. Doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. He's got 13 health from the box, and he can heal himself. So this is going to be an advanced, typical kind of game. Now, underneath this is an end of turn. Actually, I've seen this one before, so this one's not surprising. So once you clear the threat, any heroes that end their turn in this end of turn location can benefit from it. So if you are alone here, you may fill any empty slots in this location by moving thugs from adjacent locations. If you do, you may defeat a thug here, 1 thug here. It's pretty good. It doesn't suck. It's not a heal. Like I said, I don't really have any heals in this game, so that's limiting me. Abomination seems to be an advanced villain. That's limiting me. The challenge helps me, but also limits me, especially against Abomination. That's my hound dog, sorry. Abomination's rules really work against the Plan B, so that's 3 uphill fights. The advanced trainings help, so there's that. The equipment cards are helpful, so there's that. Oh yeah, I also forgot that the Sentry is powerful, but he has a pretty heavy drawback. So this particular game, I'm going into it with 2 handicaps. Oh, I have a second challenge, so I'm playing Heroic also. So going into this particular game, I've got a pretty heavy handicap, 3-tier handicap. So it's going to be rough. We'll see. We'll see how it does. I don't know what to expect from any of these characters except for Winter Soldier, but I'm looking forward to it. So the missions, as I just pointed out, you can probably understand what these mean now. So since it's got all these civilians, that's how many civilians I have to rescue, not discard, rescue to complete this. Same with thugs. This icon is what you see on, see that right there? Same icon. That's for completing those threats that I told you about. There are there's no hazardous locations, so all of the end of turns are going to be beneficial. Actually, I forgot. Since I don't have a heal, it's a 4-tier handicap. So this game is going to be a 4-tier handicap. So it should go fairly quick one way or the other. That's what I'm expecting. And then, so heroes, locations, icons. Okay. So icons, I'll use these. So this is a regular hero card. That's what a regular hero card looks like. No special abilities. Between 0 and 2 icons. Actually, some people have 3. Yeah. This is a wild card symbol or multi-action. I think they call it multi-action, but it's basically a wild card. So you get to pick what symbol you use these as. It can be a move, which is typically a green arrow. It can be a punch, which is a fist in red. Or it can be a rescue, which I showed you on the thread a second ago. And those are your typical actions. It's typically also picture-based. So most of your cards are just going to have, a great majority of the hero cards are just going to have a number of those symbols, those 4 symbols. If it's a multi-action or if it's a wild card, if it's a wild symbol, you get to pick what you use it as. There are also tokens. Some cards will allow you to take tokens. Some abilities will allow you to take tokens. Tokens can be kept, and then they can be used as the corresponding action type. So punches deal damage. So when you're looking at a thug, if you have a punch and you use a punch, you can beat that thug, which means you put him on the mission tracker. If you have a rescue, you can rescue a civilian, which means you put him on the tracker. If you get rid of a threat, now these only require 2. I didn't even notice that. All of these require 2 instead of the typical 3. So if you put 2 rescues on these threats, then you can then move the threat icon to the board. Now, typically these missions look different. These are the Plan B missions. Typically it's, I think, 9, 9, 4. But Plan B says if we complete all these, we win, even if we haven't beaten Abomination. So to me, it's kind of signifying that Emil is broken out and the Thunderbolts are deciding on whether they try and draft him. Because if you're up with the MCU is a little different than the comic books. In the MCU, Abomination's kind of a good guy now. I mean, he's a pretty good guy now. So the way I'm seeing this particular game is the Thunderbolts are trying to decide whether to beat the shit out of Emil or draft him. So if it's Plan B, we'll look at it that way. If we use Plan B, we draft him. So that's what we're going for. We're going for drafting. We want to beat Plan B. But with Emil doing what he does, it's going to be hard. If we take him down, we take him down. We'll put him back on the raft. The other... Okay, good. I've got one on the bottom. So the other type of hero card is a special. So see how she's got text at the top there? So that text only she can use. I'll go over that in a second. So the special abilities, only that particular hero can use at the time that they use it unless it says otherwise. So those are your 2 types of hero cards. Most heroes in the game get around 3 or 4 special cards, and the rest are just action cards. There are heroes that their entire deck is special cards. Groot is sick. The heroes are not all like the villains. Heroes are not all created equal. There are heroes that stand out way above the rest. Groot is pretty much the best healer. I don't know about tank anymore, but Groot is a really good tank and healer. Ares is sick. Ares just came out in Multiverse. He's sick. But Groot is still one of the best characters in the game. Another one of the best characters in the game is Nightcrawler. Sick. Yeah, if they ever give Nightcrawler some equipment cards, his swords that he needs, that he really needs, he'll be gross. I mean, he's already gross. Howard the Duck. If you're playing with Howard the Duck and any hero that has a single punch, you can win most games. If you're playing against a villain that can be defeated with taking their health down, Howard the Duck plus any hero with a punch wins, or can win, in 2 cards. So 2 turns. Stupid. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Oh look, we got the hero vulnerable. So if we were playing against Emil, if we were playing against Abomination here, and we were playing with Howard the Duck plus any other U.S. agent. U.S. agent pulls a punch card, and Howard pulls the, it's not the ultimate qualifier. I forgot what it's called. His big gun. If Howard pulls his big gun, and you're playing with U.S. agent with 1 punch, Howard shoots his gun, puts him at 1 health, puts Abomination at 1 health, as long as that threat is not in play. And then U.S. agent plays a punch, you win. So if you're playing against a villain that can be taken down with health, Howard is just sick. Doctor Strange is really, really good too. There's a couple of characters, there's a couple of heroes that just tie villains up back to back. Psylocke is pretty good at that. The new Psylocke is even better at it. And Megan can copy abilities. I played with Captain Britain Betsy the other day, which is Psylocke. Captain Britain Psylocke, basically. With Megan. And the villain basically barely got a bam off. It was pretty stupid. Still a good fight though. So I went over the special abilities. Equipment is one of the new things, as I was saying. So these are equipment cards. They have two faces, one for the use and one after the use, telling you how to recharge them if possible. Not all of them can be recharged. So typically when you use one, not all of them, not Captain Britain Psylocke. Nope. So typically, you use it, you turn it over, and it either does or doesn't have a way to recharge it. So this game is playing with three of those. Hopefully it will give me the advantage needed to take Emil down. Yeah. Alright. I think that really explains it all. I'll go over sleeves real quick, because I get asked about the sleeves all the damn time. So these are 6x6. You can't see my finger, can you? Okay. These are 6x6 photo sleeves. There's also a 6x6 photo album that you can get that they fit in. So you can put all of your locations in one photo album. There's a lot of them now, so you'll need to get the biggest one, but it's still, I think they're still able. Maybe not. You might need two at this point. There's a lot of locations now, but regardless, there's a photo album that these sleeves fit in. They fit, as you can see, very nice. That's less than an inch left. It's probably a centimeter, a little bit more than a centimeter, and that's all. So 6x6 photos. These are lanyard, the ones I use on my villains. These my villains are lanyard sleeves. I think they're 8x4. I want to say they're 8x4. Now both of these you can get on Amazon actually. And lanyard sleeves have slots also, so you might be able to find a book that they'll fit in, a small spiral, or you can just get rings. You can just buy rings to make your own spiral. It's pretty cut and dry. Standard card sleeves for threats and heroes. The equipment card that I showed you, these little sleeves are available because they're pretty standard in gaming nowadays, no matter what the game is. Elder Signs used them. X-Wing used them a lot. I think X-Wing really propelled those card sizes. Really good game, X-Wing. Okay. Now, all that said, I think that's the only things we need to cover. We'll just play a game. So those of you who've never played one can see what it plays like and see whether you want to get it or not. You should, because it's really good. Kids love it. Adults love it. It's really good. If you're a comic book fan, they pay great respect to the comics. So it's highly recommended from my standpoint, especially the customizability that you're at this point. Oh my God. You can play multiple teams. There's a versus mode. There's tons of them. At this point, there's so much customization. It's sick. That may cause you to have a little bit of setup time, but I mean, if you play Zombicide, stuff like that, Busters, you have setup time anyway. A lot of setup time, excuse me. Anyway, so the way the game plays, the villain always goes first. I don't remember if I shuffled, so we're going to shuffle again. I think I did. Actually, I don't think I did. I think I shuffled the heroes, not Emily. I had a very solitary childhood. I read like a lot, not just comic books, novels. I was reading Dante Alighieri before I was in 7th grade, so I spent a lot of time by myself, and the Marvel comics got me through a lot of that, especially the X-Men. I became on first name basis with a lot of the Marvel characters, pretty much every X-Men. So when I say stuff like Kurt, I mean Nightcrawler. When I say stuff like Betsy, I mean Captain Britain, Psylocke, same person. Anyway, so typically, in fact, I can't think of a single villain that doesn't go first. Yeah, I can't think of one. So, what's going to happen is Abomination is going to go first. So you can go ahead and get your hand ready. 1, 2, 3 cards for White Widow. So everybody draws 3 for their starting hand. 1, 2, 3 for Sentry. 1, 2, 3. John for U.S. Agent. Sorry. 1, 2, 3 for Bucky. I'm waiting on a lot of my sleeves, so some of my cards don't have sleeves on them just yet. We'll get over it. All right. So having my hands, we go ahead and we do this. I'll tell you this: a lot of villains, not a lot. Some villains can take out a team in one turn. Looking at his BAM, not him, but there are villains that can take out a whole team in one turn. Okay, so this is your master plan card. That stupid glare. See, I can turn that light off, but then you won't be able to see it. Yeah. So that's what a typical master plan card looks like. I know it's fuzzy, so it's having trouble auto-focusing with that light, that glare. But I'll read it to you. But that is what a standard, like this is exactly what a standard master plan card looks like. Exactly. What you've got is, of course, name and picture. It's got their movement. This tells you where they're moving. This tells you whether they're bamming or not. And I read the BAM to you, so he's going to BAM. This says any special rules. And this tells you how many. I told you that he'll typically drop tokens, so he's dropping tokens also. So he's going to move clockwise to the next location with any heroes. That's simple. He comes to the bar. It's pretty fun. And then he BAMs, and his BAM says that deal 2 damage to 1 hero in Abomination's location. So what you'll do is you'll look. I mean, typically, if you're playing with multiple people, which is standard, you'd be talking to each other about who wants to take this hit. John does not, U.S. Agent does not really want to take that hit. Bucky might be taking that hit. Sentry's a little potent. Alright, so Bucky is definitely taking the hit. The reason for that is Bucky's cards are not as good as everybody else's. So, here's what we're looking at. And I'm about to tell you why I'm picking these 2. But these are going to be the 2 that I pick for Bucky to get rid of. So, damage is taken from your hand. Your hand is your health. When your hand reaches 0, you're knocked out. So Bucky has 1 health left. And when you take damage, the cards go to the bottom of the deck. So he took his 2 damage. Then what you want to do is you want to look at all of your threats across the board, and you want to see if there's any BAMs or lands on your threats. If it's got a picture, of a little arrow with a bullseye, that's a land. That means if the villain lands there, something happens. It did not. Actually, it did. I'm sorry. So when it lands, he drops these. But that same symbol is sometimes on a threat. But none of these threats have BAMs. None of these threats have lands. So nothing special is going to happen. Like I said, this is a fairly standard game. So what you'll do is, and the playmat helps you out with this. What you do is you put it right there, and you're going to start a wheel of the cards. So he comes over here, he bams, he dealt 2 damage to Bucky, then superhuman uppercut. Move the hero who was just damaged 2 locations away from Abominations. It doesn't give you a direction, which means you can pick. So we want the Statue of Liberty. And the reason why is because I'm looking at the different end of turns. So the Statue of Liberty, not end of turn, threat. So the threat on the Statue of Liberty is just a little bit more powerful than the one at the United Nations headquarters. It says as long as this threat is in play, Abomination can't go below 1 health unless all heroes are in this or in his location when they deal damage to him. That's a lot more potent than the one at United Nations headquarters. So, Abomination breaks out of the raft, immediately runs to the bar with no name. I can see that happening. And knocks Bucky across the state into the Statue of Liberty. Pretty funny. And then he drops, what did I say, 2 and 2? Yep, 2 and 2. So we're close to an overflow there, and we're close to an overflow there. At least we aren't overflowing. Now he also, as part of his BAM, I forgot, he gets rid of these. When they're discarded, they don't go on here. They just go here. So that all sucked. Literally all of that. But Bucky can work on that threat, so whatever. Since I don't have any heals, he's stuck at 1 health for a while. So now we decide who gets to go first. Typically, again, you talk to each other like who's got the best hand. Widow's Bite is actually useless in this particular game. That's great. But Battle Batons is pretty good. You just got to get a move. Okay. So, everybody would look at their hand. That's pretty good. Let's use this then. U.S. Agent's got some good cards. I'd say better than the original Captain America. I haven't seen the new Captain America in action yet, so I don't know about that. I think my hound dog needs to go outside, though. Let her out. We'll let her back in a minute. Sentry's pretty dope. I think we're going to do Sentry first because we only get 2 heroes. So I think we'll do Sentry first. So he has a stay in the storyline card. Special ability. As long as this card is the almost invulnerable card. As long as this card is faced in the storyline before taking damage, you may draw cards from your deck equal to the amount of damage you will take, then place the same number of crisis tokens on the Dark Entity card. The Dark Entity card is Sentry's alternate eco. So when he has 3 or more crisis tokens, he has to draw and resolve one of his Void deck cards, which is bad. It's his alternate personality, the Void, coming into play and do something bad. I haven't looked at them in advance, so they're going to be as much of a surprise to me as they are to you. But, so it does have the, that's what we're looking at. It's with the wheel, the play wheel. So it's got the multi-tool, so he gets to do one of whatever he wants. Which, the threat that we're on is actually pretty good. So he's probably going to use it on the one that we're on. Yeah, I think so. So he's going to start to resolve that threat. So we'll place a token there because he spent the necessary rescue. And then it's somebody else's turn. We're going to go back to the wheel because this is important. So now, since we get to pick 2 heroes because it's the Abomination, we pick somebody else to go. We're probably going to do White Widow. I think so. So we keep playing around in a circle. It's pretty cut and dry. Now, every hero gets to use their card, but also the card before them. Earlier when I said you don't get the effects of the special ability unless it's yours and only right away, this is why. So, Widow is going to be able to use her move, her punch, and Sentry's wild card. She'll get to use all 3. If there were 4 icons or 5 icons, she'd get to use all 5. She's not using a special ability, so she's just getting the 3 separate actions. So first thing she'll do is she'll finish this threat off. She'll finish that thread off. This goes on the mission tracker. And then if you're alone here, you may fill any empty slots in this location by moving thugs from adjacent locations. If you do, you may defeat 1 thug here. She doesn't care about that because she wouldn't be alone. So she's going to use the move to go over here, and then she's going to throw a punch. Now, this game's got to go quick. I already, as soon as I read the Abomination stuff, I knew it was going to have to be a quick game, like I said, one way or the other. So we're going to have to throw punches and rescue as quick as we can, because he gets rid of them left and right, almost as much as he puts them down. So over here, what we've got, here we're worried about an overflow. Someone's got to take care of that. She was worried about an overflow. That's why she went over here to take care of that. But he's dropping 2 at a time so far. So one may not even matter. The battle batons don't help against civilians, so she's really stuck. She's really done all that she can do. So now we're going to have to pick another hero after I shut the door. Now we're going to pick another hero to go. No, we're not. This is Abomination. He says every 2. So since he's under pressure means he goes every. That's Camp Ham too. That's good. Since he's under pressure, he goes every 2 heroes. So he's scary. So we'll pick another. We're going to pick another master plan card. Move clockwise to the next location with any heroes. So Bucky again. And then bam. And that's another superhero over his same card. Poor Bucky. Really doesn't like Bucky. So he's going to move to the Statue of Liberty where he threw Bucky. I don't know what Bucky said to this guy. He's going to knock him out because Bucky's only got 1 card left. Now, Abomination, typically if someone is knocked out, then they get to go again. But some villains, instead of playing another Master Plan card, they play it face down. He does not do either. Abomination just speeds up his turn by 1. So instead of every 2 heroes, now he's going to go every 1 hero. So another hero is about to go, and Abomination's going to go again. And then he drops 2 and 2 again. And that causes overflow. Of course. And there's civilians, and these Thunderbolts are not very rescuey. It's pretty suck. And again, his overflow says if there's 1 or more that can't be added to a location, discard all of them there. It really blows. Blows. That blows. And now we get to decide who goes next. Oh yeah. There's probably going to have to be a fact ruling on his ability, the uppercut. Because typically, as soon as the hero is KO'd, they are not considered to be in the game. So according to that rule, I don't think Bucky would go anywhere. Logically, I think he still would. But game rules, I don't think he does. Because it's 2 separate things. The BAM took him out. Yeah. In game terms, the uppercut would not move a knocked out character. That may need a errata or fact. Okay. And that's why we do this, right? Right. So now either Winter Soldier or U.S. Agent can go next. I think the smart play would be U.S. Agent. So, when a hero does, I didn't go over this earlier, when a hero does their turn, what they do is first they draw a card, and then they play a card. There are now, like I said, the game is it can be as complicated as just about as you want now. They've got team decks, they've got pets. So the team decks and the pets allow you more cards to choose from. The team decks are a little different in that you don't draw a card. You can choose to play one of the team cards or play one of yours, draw a card, play one of yours. So typically, with your hero, you would draw a card, and then you would play a card. So many punches. I kind of want to split up. Oh, I definitely need to split up. I need to go to the arena. So the threat on the arena says as long as this threat's in play, damage dealt by Abomination is unpreventable. It doesn't say untransferable. So he does have something he can do to keep himself alive. Man. Widow's got the most. Alright, I think this is the smartest play. So we're playing I'll do the work. Move clockwise to the next location with any heroes and then punch there. It's also got rescue. So we don't necessarily have to use that card first. So what we'll do is we'll use Widow's move and punch. And then we'll use his card. To move there. And we'll start fixing that threat. Okay. Alright. Man, it's gonna suck. Alright. Abomination. Move counterclockwise to the next location with any heroes and bam. And then it's another superhuman uppercut. So he's coming to, because he ignores the one he's in, he comes back to the bar to face off against the sentry. So I think the sentry is going to use the card that I put out. So instead of taking 2 damage, oh, it's unpreventable. No, it's not preventing it. Okay, that's good. So I'm going to put, this is a crisis token. I'm going to put 1 crisis token on the void, or the dark person, not dark entity. I'm going to put 1 crisis token on that. And for the 2 damage, I'm going to draw, I get to pick, right? Oh, I have to do 2. Oof. Hopefully he's got cards to get rid of the crisis tokens, but I doubt he will. So I'll be putting 2 crisis tokens on the dark entity. And then I'll be picking which ones I discard. Alright. That's a tough decision. Tough decision. So he healed 2, but he took 2. And then he puts another 2 and 2, so we're going to overflow again. Goodness. Means he's going to go after the next hero again. Uh, oh yeah, and sentry moves as well, so we'll just put him here. And then it has to be Winter Soldier, so 1, 2, 3. When you wake up from your knockout, you stand your mini up, you draw 3 cards, and then you start your turn, which means you draw another card. So Winter Soldier's looking at 4 cards for the first time in this game. He's got a rescue. it's... Man, doesn't have much to offer, though. So he'll be playing with the rescue himself. So he will get rid of this. Adding that to the mission. Get rid of that. Adding that to the mission. Oof. Okay, Emil is not in his location, so... Oh, I forgot about that, but I haven't used it. I need to remember that if I end a turn in Abomination's location, I'm hindered also. So I can use that in a turn if I want. You may relocate any number of citizens from this location to other locations. If you do, gain a movement token for each that you relocated. Yeah, useless. The other way around would have been nice, though. Alright, and that's Abomination again. Well, something new. He's going to move 3, so goes back to the raft. Until the next villain turn, during each hero turn, Abomination can't be damaged unless the hero first spends a movement in his location. Hiding underwater, so it means his was referring to Abomination. So they have to spend a movement in Abomination's location to deal damage to him until the next villain turn. Got it. No BAM. No civilians or thugs. Okay, so we get a break, a moment's reprieve, and that's Sentry again, right? Yep. So Sentry's back up. So I've got a couple cards that put 2 crisis tokens, 3 crisis tokens, and it's already got 2. At the end of any turn, if there are 3 or more crisis tokens on this card, discard them all. So going over 3, there's no drawback. So if you're gonna go over 3, if you're gonna go to 3, then you might as well go hard. That's what I'm getting. Okay. He doesn't have the movement to spend to attack him. Oh, and at this point, you don't get to pick who. You stay in order at this point, by the way. That's why we have to do the Sentry next. So I've got 2 special cards that are pretty potent, but would bring out the Void. One of them's useless. I'll say that. I could clean up. She could get rid of that. Or I could clean that up. Oh no, I can't get to it. Oh yeah, I could. We're going to do it. That's why we're doing this, right? So this is definitely going to bring the Void out, which is going to suck. But uncontrolled power. So I'm adding a movement to the rescue that Winter Soldier gave me. And then he's going to Wild, 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 and then place 3 crisis tokens on the Dark Entity card, which is going to put it at 5. So we're going to wake up the Dark Entity. But we're just going to deal with that. All right. So going to take a risk of not doing that one. So we have a rescue and 3 wilds left. So rescue, wild, gets rid of that. Rescue, rescue. The end of turn at the arena is actually bad. So while it's not listed as a hazardous location, it kind of is. The reason it's not listed as a hazardous location, which means it would have a little symbol, is because it's maybe. The only way it's bad is if you have more than one person here. So since he's by himself, nothing happens. But now we get to pull the first void card. Hollowness. On your next turn, you must forfeit 1 move action if available. I'll be honest, I was expecting a lot worse. That's not horrible. It's not good. But 5 crisis tokens are gone. And that is Abomination's turn. Stronger than you. Move counterclockwise to the next location with the hero with the most cards in hand. So, Sentry. Bam. And then move Abomination to the opposite location and deal 1 damage to each hero there. On the bright side, the Sentry got rid of the damage not being preventable, so there's that. And then he's going to drop 2 and 2. No more overflow, though. That's why I did what I did. So he's going to come to Sentry and he's going to deal 2 damage. I could stop that again, which we're going to do. So instead of taking the 2 damage, I'm going to draw 2 cards. I'm going to place 2 more crises. And then I'm going to choose 2 cards to discard. I'm going to take a gamble and go with those. Definitely a gamble. And then jumps over to them, deals 1 damage to each of them. So US Agent can block one of those, which I think he's going to do. So he'll block. Oh, actually, yeah, there's nothing. So US Agent will block the one that he takes, but he will take another one. That seems like the way it would go. Andrea, if you're watching this, Bucky needs an equipment card for that arm. I just realized that. Just saying. So when you do promos next, Nightcrawler needs 1 to 3 rapier cards and a Bamf pet. Bucky needs an arm. Just saying, if the captains get shields, Bucky should get an arm. What are we doing? Oh yeah, Abomination was kicking our ass. So how do I get the shield back? At the beginning of your turn, discard 1 action token to turn this face up. I don't have any action tokens. Alright. And then 2 and 2. Oh, he is gonna. Damn it. Because he moves before he does that. So he is gonna have overflow, because I forgot that he moves before he does that. And he drops thugs this time. That's actually good for us. Okay. So again, we only get 1 hero, and it's got to be Widow, who has not taken a single damage this game. Probably shouldn't have said that. She'll definitely be using her equipment card this turn. That sucks. They're also punchy. So she's got a move, rescue. Really want to get rid of that threat. And then she's going to use the battle batons. So use on your turn, punch in your location, then if you defeated one or more thugs this turn, perform an extra punch, then turn it face down. Okay. And she needs tokens to get that back as well. That's not so bad. Need to get away again. So we can get tokens back at the arena. It's just costly. Gotta get over here. Gotta go over here. Gotta get over there. Stop the overflow. We have to stop the overflow. Alright. Move counterclockwise the location with next location with any heroes. So back to Sentry. And then bam. And then the uppercut again. Alright. I gotta say, it's pretty Abomination-y. So do I want to take the damage is the question. Why not? So instead of taking the damage, he will draw 2 and discard 2. That was an easy choice. And then he fills the Dark Entity, so we draw a void. Bring one random cleared threat back in play in a location without a threat, starting from your location, going clockwise. If not possible, accelerate the next villain turn by 1. Fan. Okay, that sucks. That sucks. Randomized. Well, it's the best one to come back then, at least. Starting from your location, going clockwise. Okay, so it's back. So Abomination can't drop below 1 health right now. Now, we don't get another symbol, is what really sucks. So it's basically a free threat that we have to clear. That's to beat him down. That's just to beat him down. If we complete the plan B, we don't have to worry about it. There's that. Yeah. And then he drops 2 and 2. Does not cause an overflow, though. After Widow is Agent. She gave him a move and a rescue, which is what I needed. So he's definitely going to the raft. Probably going to use No Mercy. Yeah. we're going to use No Mercy. So, No Mercy says that he gets a wild, and then he's going to punch in his location, and if he does, he's going to discard one civilian there. Now it says discard, not rescue, which sucks, but so does overflow. So he's going to use Widow's move, Widow's rescue, and his wild. We'll get rid of that. You can't see what I'm doing, can you? So he moves the raft. He's going to use Widow's rescue and his wild. Get rid of that. Then he's going to punch in his location. That goes to the mission. And since he did, he's going to discard this one. It does not go to the mission. So that's the end of his turn. You may discard one card or one action token to move to any other location with a henchman and deal 1 damage to him. So that's useless. That sucks. Oh well. Did Emil overflow? He did. Didn't he? No, he didn't. So since there was no overflow, we actually get to activate 2 heroes. It's been a while. After US is Bucky. He gets a wild. So he's just going to do a standard move and punch. Part of that is like, strategizing in this game is a lot like playing pool. You also got to think about your lay. In this, the lay is for the next hero. So the next hero, you got to think about them, what they're going to be able to get. Some heroes don't play well with others, though. Like, seriously, there's heroes that don't have any icons at the bottom. So anyway, Bucky's going to move. Using his move, he is going to use her, or his wild, to clear that threat. And then he's going to just not do anything with that punch, because it's useless. But he does get the end of turn of the Camp Hammond. So this is one of the new features in Multiverse. These are the advanced trainings I was talking about at the very beginning. So he gets to draw 2 advanced training cards, keep one, and put the other one at the bottom of the deck. So, draw 2. Advanced trainings. Both of them are discards. Solo training. After your current turn, play another turn as the active hero. This does not delay the next villain turn. Then resume the usual turn sequence. Psychological training. Cancel an effect that will force you to play your card randomly or face down. I haven't seen anything that causes this, so that's not going to be the one we take. Solo training is actually pretty good. It's okay. We'll call it mediocre. But he's got it, in case he wants to use it. And honestly, he may use it next turn. Next time it's his turn, he's probably going to use that. Because he's going to do a lot of fucking damage when he uses it. Just have to remember to set it up. Set up the lane. Okay. And it's Emil's turn. Hiding in the water again. Of course. But Bucky, he's not showing up. Yeah, he's going to show up after that anyway. So, Emil's going to go 3 again. 1, 2, 3. So he's hiding in the bay around the Statue of Liberty. Alright. So no damage to him without spending a movement. And after Bucky is Sentry? Sentry. What did I say? Oh yeah, threat. That's right. That's something. I gotta tell you, getting that, it's a starting hand card too. So some heroes have starting hand cards. The Sentry starting hand card is the one that's letting him not be KO'd. And the fact that he's taken 3 punches, it's definitely it's kept us in the game a lot easier. In fact, yeah, the game would be close to over if not for that starting hand card. Apparently I knocked my advanced dragon card off. Not sure how I did that, but whatever. Okay. So we need 3 more threats. Oh, no we don't. So I just did that one. We need 2 more threats. Nope, so I did that one too. I'm forgetting to move my tokens around. Okay. Sentry's over here. So we need 1 more threat, and then everybody gets to draw a card. But it has to be this one. Bucky gave him a move. And a punch. So the punch is wasted. I got nothing that he can punch, unless he moves over there. He does have a move if I use that one. Okay, I think we'll do that. So what we're going to use is we're going to use the uncontrolled power. So he's going to wild, then place 2 crisis tokens on the Dark Entity card. And he's got to move. So now he's got 2 moves, a punch, 2 wilds, and 2 crisis tokens on the Dark Entity. So move. Who goes next? Widow? That sucks. He is safe from Abomination, though, so I'm going to use his 2 wilds to get rid of that threat. So that means we've finished 1 mission. So we're a third of the way done, and everybody gets to draw a card. Now again, typically you wouldn't get to draw a card unless you defeated all 3 missions, but Abomination says when you defeat 1 mission, you draw a card. Alright. So Sentry is done. He may relocate once at the end of turn. The end of turn, the location he's at. The end of turn at the location he's at says that he may relocate 1 civilian from any location to any other location. The only one that would be good with, we're going to do it. So, see in his, there's 3. So moving 1 wouldn't do anything with the Abominations cards because they're dropping 2. So it wouldn't do anything. But, if you look at the bar has 1 spot free. Spot there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move this one to a location that doesn't have any, because that leaves 2 there. Math is your friend, right? Alright. And then it is, who did I say? Widow. It's Widow's turn. Widow's over here. Okay, there. She still doesn't have any tokens, so she can't get the baton back. Considering the lay, we're going to do a move and a rescue. So she's helping John out. So she's got a move, and a rescue. She can't get over there. There's no thugs adjacent to the bar, so that's useless. Discard one. That's useless. Can't use abominations because. Oh no, that's not right. I got rid of that one. You may relocate any number of civilians from this location. That's actually pretty good. We might do that. So she's going to move to his location, which is funny because she would have the leftover movement to attack him if she wanted, but she's not gonna. And then we'll that. Oh wait, no, we were going to get rid of that. We want to do that. We don't want to do that. She's just all right. And then it's Abomination's turn. Okay, he's doing a stronger than you. Okay, we've done this before. Move clockwise to the next location with the hero with the most cards in hand. That's going to be Sentry. Yep,